Donald Trump is going viral for what he said about immigration at the debate.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
This claim is so far unconfirmed and unverified. City Manager Brian Heck addressed these rumors last week.
It is disappointing that some of the narrative surrounding our city has been skewed by misinformation circulating on social media and further amplified by political rhetoric in the current highly charged presidential election cycle.
There's no concrete evidence this is true. All we have are TV testimonies from locals.
And let me be clear, this is not about race. This is about people being given the privilege of coming here from another country and having no respect for our people, our land, or our life's work. People living their life here the way they did in Haiti, angry, stealing, polluting, pulling off of the highway to publicly clean and gut the roadkill lying there in front of anyone that passes by, stealing animals from farmers and leaving their severed heads at the side of an old school where children play, relieving themselves in public, making some barbaric stew out of the birds that live in our park. This is insanity, and it has to stop.
We also have the recording of a non-emergency 911 call made in August. This was pretty wild.
I'm sitting here, I'm riding on the trail going to my orientation for my job today, and I see a group of Haitian people. There was about 4 of them. They all had geese in their hand. They got away. I couldn't make out the first 3 of the license plate, but I got the numbers. The last numbers was 9898, and it was a gray Toyota Tacoma they took off on.
However, whether or not the cats and dogs are all right, the influx of tens of thousands of Haitian newcomers is crushing this town. But before we get into the details, if you enjoy what we do here at National Review, give this video a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to our channel for future content. Oh, and ring that bell to receive notifications every time we post. So how and why have so many Haitian migrants arrived in places like Springfield? Many of them are actually here legally under a highly controversial program called Temporary Protected Status, or TPS. It was formed under George H.W. Bush, and it grants time-limited asylum to migrants fleeing war-torn countries. This differs from traditional asylum seeking because it's for a set period of time, allows a work permit, but does not allow for a pathway to citizenship, and that's been something that the Biden administration is actively trying to change. They've also drastically increased the number of migrants eligible for TPS, adding 4 countries that alone total to 500,000 people. And because of this, there's a scandal in places like Springfield, Ohio, and Aurora, Colorado. Springfield is a place with a population of 60,000 people, and it's taken in 15,000 to 20,000 Haitian immigrants since 2020. Obviously, this is a huge disruptive demographic change to a very small community. The TPS rules allow the executive branch to unilaterally designate and extend protections for each country. Here's Kamala Harris bragging about how many Haitian migrants they have allowed in.
Starting with our administration, we gave TPS, temporary protected status, to Haitian migrants, 55,000. And then more recently, we extended temporary protected status to over 100,000 Haitian migrants for that very reason.
Local residents have noted that these Haitian immigrants don't have the same cultural customs or reverence for the rule of law as Americans. Many of them also don't speak English, which makes everything more difficult. Here's another Springfield resident.
But it is so unsafe. I have men that cannot speak English in my front yard screaming at me, throwing mattresses in my front yard, throwing trash in my front yard. And I can't. Look at me, I weigh 95 pounds. I couldn't defend myself if I had to. I understand they're here under temporary protected status and you're protecting them. And I understand that our city services are overwhelmed and understaffed. But who's protecting us? If we're protecting them, who's protecting me?
This woman is desperate about what's happening to her home. Beyond locals reporting that they feel less safe, limited resources are being strained. Healthcare facilities, schools, the supply of housing.
I don't know how, y'all can be comfortable with this. I don't know, who's getting paid from it. I honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background. You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. and it's nothing but immigrants over there.
The New York Times reports that consultations began to take 3 times as long at the local community health center. The head of the clinic told the paper, "We lost productivity, we had huge burnout of staff," and then it hired 6 Haitian Creole speakers, and annual spending on translation services increased from $43,000 in 2020 to $436,000. Springfield City Manager Brian Heck actually sent a letter to Senators Tim Scott and Sherrod Brown requesting federal aid for the housing crisis in Springfield. J.D. Vance has been drawing attention to this story. Vance brought Springfield up over a month ago during a Senate hearing. This is his home state of Ohio, after all.
In my conversations with folks in Springfield, it's not just housing. They're trying to build 5,000 new housing units, which is a very Herculean task in a town of about 55,000 people. But it's also hospital services, it's school services, there are a whole host of ways in which this immigration problem, I think, is having very real human consequences.
We're talking hospital occupancy, available housing, education resources. These are all very real things to worry about. And Springfield, Ohio is not the only area in the nation that's feeling this. Let's go back to temporary protected status. The vast majority of the newly eligible TPS recipients are actually from Venezuela, and this is hitting very close to home in Aurora, Colorado. There have been credible reports of what the Aurora mayor has called organized criminal effort.
Some new video today shows that some are calling gang violence at an apartment complex in Aurora. We see men there entering an apartment building with several weapons, then busting down a door. All of this taking place at the apartments, which have become a crime hotspot in that city.
Migrant gangs have taken control of apartment buildings. As for the alleged abduction of animals in Springfield, the Washington Post is saying a right-wing bubble is flooding social media with AI images of Trump caressing kittens, wearing MAGA hats, or running through a crowd with your local park's little ducklings in tow. This is the right's latest pet project. Immigration is Trump's strongest issue, and he has hard, verifiable facts to show that there was no border crisis under his administration, and that it's now causing things like overcrowded schools and an infestation of illegal unregistered mopeds, ignoring traffic rules in Manhattan. I know, I covered it. But by amplifying this pet rumor, Republicans are allowing Democrats to dismiss the real harms of mass migration. To be sure, these pet memes are driving national conversation, but it's backfiring. Trump's soundbite at the debate was insanely online, and it's too ridiculous at face value for many ordinary people to even believe. The immigration issue could have been a slam dunk for Trump at the debate, but instead he gave a lot of inflammatory generalities and not enough concrete specifics.
There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof.
As a result, Trump allowed Kamala to steamroll him to get away with not defending her policy flip-flops, her past extremism, and that's the real tragedy. To learn more about why Kamala would be infinitely worse and more radical than Biden, click here.